Hello, today I thought I'd show you some stencils that we've been making at Scrapbookingncraft. I'll leave the link to our website below. So my range of designs of stencils, and I've been playing with a Tim Holtz distressing blending tool. Tim Holtz blending tool, I'll get the terminology right, in the last couple of weeks with a few of his ink pads. So what I'll do is I'll show you our first stencil we've made, our first card we've made. My cards are very basic because I'm still learning with his blending tools. So this particular one is really cute but effective. So it's actually done using this template here, which is it's either called Starburst, Sunburst. I've got that many stencils at the moment, I'm forgetting which ones I named them, but you can certainly see pictures and names on the website. So our stencils retail for $5 Australian, which makes them quite affordable and at a good price range. So basically, to make this card, what I've done is I've laid our stencil down on the page, and I've actually started with the purple colour and I've gone over it with the purple. Then I've slightly turned the stencil to sort of cover up the colour you've just done and gone over it with another colour, in this case it was yellow, and then slightly turned it again, covering up the yellow, and what you get left with is really cool, sort of a three-colour effect, and then you get some of the white bursting through as well. So you don't necessarily, a lot of the stencils I'm designing, you can use parts of it. So even though this one's got a harsh edge on the end, a harsh straight edge on the card, you don't actually notice that. I'll show you another one using, this was actually my first card using my blending tool, so I'm a bit heavy-handed. I'm still learning to be very light and gentle. So this one again, I've just done the one colour I've done with the blue, with the stencil, and then I've just gone over it with the blending tool, with the, I've got brown on my blending tool, with the purple, just using no stencil, just going over to give it a more background colour. Butterfly up here is one of our butterflies that we'll have in our range as well. If they're not on the website, they'll be on there very soon. And I've just given it some colour with a Tim Holtz Distress ink pad and stamped over it with a rubber stamp I've got. And the happy birthday and all the sentiments have just come from a pack of stamps I got free with a magazine last few weeks. Sorry, back to this one. That cupcake rack of cupcakes will be available on our website soon. So these are a few of our chipboard designs as well. So I've just inked it, gently dabbed it over with the Tim Holtz Distress ink pads. You could go over it with some Kinder Glitz or some glitter. You could put little diamantes on. You can jazz them up quite well. I've just done some plain basic ones to show you. Here's another one using this same stencil. So again, I've gone over it with a few different colours, and then what I've done is after I've done my three colours, I got the tool again just with my blue ink on it and went all over the card. So it's sort of covering up here because this was white, and going all over it, which sort of wanted to darken it, and playing around with my colours to see what we can do, and also playing around with the stencils. So again, just a happy birthday stamp off one of our free stamps and another one of our cupcake ranges. I particularly like this one, trying to do a bit of boyish cards with our cards as well. So this one's using the same stencil, and this one's using brown, three colours, a green, a light green, I'm sorry I don't know the names, and a yellow Tim Holtz Distress ink pads as well. So you can see over here, I've actually feathered, when we've done the ink pad, sort of feather it off lightly so you don't create the harsh edge. You can create it or you can leave it. You can sort of see it down here. I'm still learning with these distress ink pads. Have to learn to be a lot more gentle and light-handed. So I'll move on to our next stencil. Our next one is actually what I call a reverse, excuse a grungy stencil. I have to clean them. The reverse chicken wire reverse hexagon. So I've got this sort of effect here. What I've done with this one, and I've gone over it with several different colours, probably three. Yeah, it's three different colours in the actual stencil. So there's the purple, the green, and the blue. So again, what I've done is placed the stencil on, gone over it one colour. Then you can actually see to offset the stencil. So you can see where the purple is. I've moved the stencil so the middle of the stencil now is in the circles to create that sort of 3D effect in the background. After I've done my three colours, I've actually just taken the distressing tool again with the yellow on it and rubbed it all over the stencil. Sorry, all over that. Not using the stencil, sorry. All over the card. And these three people here is one of our chipboard pieces again. I've just inked it with some black ink. and stuck it on the card. That shape, if it's not on my website, will be there very, very soon. I need to update it with all my new shapes. So this is another one, whoops, another one we've done with the reverse hexagon. I quite like this one because this one you're actually getting little bits of the shape. I'll show you the reverse of that, the actual hexagons, in a minute, where you actually get the full blobs of colour. So the two stencils are great to have a play with because you can make so many different effects. So this one I've basically just gone over it with the brown using the stencil, and then I've gone over it with the yellow or a light green, can't tell in this light, again using a distressings tool, no stencil. It's a cute little fox I've stamped out and cut out 3 times and just put a happy birthday sentiment on it as well. So I'll show you the difference. So we'll change our stencil now. So this is the reverse stencil that we get this sort of effect with. So this effect here on the bird cage is actually made with our honeycomb mesh stencil. So when you're using this stencil, you actually get the big hexagons of colour. So what I've done with this card is I've taken our stencil and I've gone over it lightly to start with here. As you can see, there's white bits behind there. And then what I've done is I've moved our stencil, gone over it again with several different colours without moving the stencil to give it sort of a rainbow effect. And then this is one of our chipboard frames. This one's actually been cut out of American Crafts glitter cardstock, which was in our product range, but it's now no longer. But we do sell the chipboard frame, and you can just paint it or ink it and then put your glitter on it. So that looks really cool. Another one using this hexagon stencil, bring it forward a bit. You can see in the background, you can sort of see really lightly in the background, we've got the hexagons going on as well. The other design is actually, I was trying to incorporate 2 stencils on the one page. So I put that one up there so you can still see. And on the 4 sort of edges, I've used our doily stencil. So again, you don't need to use the whole part of the stencil. I've just lined a little bit up on the corner and went over it here and moved it round. So you don't necessarily need to have to use this particular stencil as a whole piece. You can mask it off and use half the stencil. You can just do the corners like I've done. This looks really nice up here. I like that effect that I've created. I don't particularly like here where I've actually gone off the edge of the stencil, but I'm still learning how to play. So I quite like the effect. It's nice to show you what you can and can't do with the stencils. Okay, our next stencil, so I'll take these both away. Next stencil, I call it our stressed squares. So it's a whole lot of squares that are sort of cut into and half done. This one looks really cool when you actually take the stencil, leave it in the one spot, and I've actually gone over it with 3 colours. So I've sort of done the blue for the sky, the yellow, and then I've done the green strip down the bottom. And then I've just put our people on, just with a bit of black ink as well. Another one really cool to do with the square stencil is this one here. So this card's going the other way, and I've just put again 3 colours on it. This one's got like a limey green up the top, a yellowy one, and I think it's vintage photo down the bottom. And I've just stamped using Tim Holtz Distress Stains the trees and the happy birthday and the leaves up the top. So I particularly like this one because it has a fair bit of space between the colours. It gives you a really nice look. Again, I like to combine a couple of stencils. So we've combined this one on this card and our sun up the top. So I'm trying to get them in view, sorry. Filming on my iPad and it's a bit difficult. I've got to reach right in front of where I'm going. So again, on the top of this card, I've used this one. I want to sort of have a sun up the top. So I've gone over it in a couple of colours and then gone all over the card in the blue, just using the Tim Holtz Distress inks. No stencil, and I've done the stencil down the bottom with the blue. And then that's my birdie stamp you saw in one of the first cards, just stamped over the top. So I like that effect. Cards are really nice and soft and different. One last card I'll show you that's not using one of our stencils, but I was playing also. This is actually using one of our paper doilies that's available on our website in our June release. So what I've just done is taken our Tim Holtz Distressing Blending Tool, to stop calling it Distressing Tool, a blending tool. And I've gone over it with blue and purple on the actual doily, and I've gone around the card. I've been a bit heavy-handed up there in the corner and a bit down here. It's again one of our butterflies from our range, if I can get it to focus. What I've actually done is I've inked it up with the purple, the same purple as around the edge, then I've stamped it over with a lace overall background stamp. Again, you could make this a bit more decorative. I was doing some demonstrating at our last show and just making some simple cards with a few of our stencils and products so people could get a good idea. Thank you for watching my demonstration, and I'm sure I will get better at it as I practice more. We've got a load more stencils available in our store. There's probably about 30 or 40 different varieties at the moment, and I'm designing some more today. So please check them out. If you're only after a few stencils and you live in Australia, postage is only like $2 with Australia Post. If you live anywhere but Australia and you'd like some stencils, I believe it's $6 to $8, maybe up to $10, depending on how many I can fit in a large letter. So they're not that expensive to post out. So they're quite light. They're made of a heavy stencil plastic, so it sits nice and flat on your page. And I really like the plastic that we're using at the moment. Even when you cut it lacy like this, it will actually sit really well, not in my hands, but sit really well, flatten the page and take your inks and that very nicely. Thank you very much. I'll leave the link below to our website. Thank you. Goodbye.